Jane Goodall, A Life for Good, was the topic on Sunday, December 7th, 2025, at Red River Unitarian Universalist Church, presented by the Reverend Dr. Mark Y. A. Davies. Welcome from Red River Unitarian Universalist. Thank you for joining us. The religion we practice in this church is centered in the here and now, rather than the hereafter. It is more of a thinking kind of religion than a believing kind. It is governed more by reason than by tradition, more concerned with the present than the past. It is concerned with getting the most out of life, with living wisely and well. A major aim for us is continually expanding our understanding of life and ourselves. This church is a community of people who share in the free and open search for a level of understanding that will enable us to be more fully and effectively alive. The church does not tell us what we must believe. It stimulates us to think. It supports us in our search. You are welcome to join us. Our centering value is love, with transformation, generosity, equity, interdependence, justice, and pluralism.
We gather together this morning, tenderly like drops of dew on a leaf of grass, hopefully like gathered raindrops in a cloud, gleefully like water rushing in a stream to the sea, deeply like groundwater pulled up from a well. We gather from every direction for another time of growth and depth, another time of companionship and hope, another time of learning to love in this world. We gather like the water that joins us across all of creation, the water that connects us within and without, merging and flowing across the entire world. This time we have an opportunity to light our candles of community over on the table. You can light a candle for a joy, a concern, to remember someone, or simply to bring more light into our space.
We are curious when we're very small, so excited by the beauty of it all. We turn our faces up just to feel the rain. We're feeling that love song to Jane. See the gentle courage in your eyes, walking out alone into the wilds, risking love is also risking pain. We're risking that love song to Jane. And the only way for you to save your friends is a trip around the world that never ends. And you teach us every day, and you urge us on our way. Keep living that love song to Jane. dragonflies and frogs and mice and skates, watching lion kittens as they play. Africa is waiting for the rain, waiting for that love song to Jane. 100 years from now, we will see the elephants, giraffes, and chimpanzees, and our great-granddaughters turn their faces up to the rain. They'll be singing that love song to Jane. And the only way for you to save your friends is a trip around the world that never ends. And you teach us every day, and you urge us on our way. Keep living that love song to Jane. And you teach us every day as you urge us on our way. Keep living that love song to Jane. Keep risking that love song to Jane. Keep singing that love song to Jane.
Let's stand in body or spirit as we light our chalices. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Let's join in the spoken affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help one another. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. Join me in the words now on the screen. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. May be seated. You will notice a trend today. All of our readings are coming to us from Jane Goodall. And our opening thought is from Jane Goodall from her work, Reason for Hope, A Spiritual Journey. She writes, each one of us matters, has a role to play, and makes a difference. Each one of us must take responsibility for our own lives, and above all, show respect and love for living things around us, especially each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You walked with care among the wild, the earth lay bare. You watched their world, you gave them voice. In every chimp you saw a choice. Through quiet steps and patient days, you changed our view in wondrous ways. Jane Goodall, your legacy runs deep in forests green and souls you keep. Though you've gone, your spirit stays in every life, in nature's ways. You crossed barriers, broke the mold, with hearts so brave, a story told. You taught us hope, you taught us more, that all life's gifts we must restore. For every root and every tree, your vision spoke what eyes could see. Jane Goodall, your legacy runs deep in forests green and souls you keep. Though you've gone, your spirit stays in every life, in nature's ways. In every leaf, in every song, your wisdom leaves, your cause flows on through children's dreams and forest calls. Your heart beats on beyond these walls. Jane Goodall, your legacy runs deep in forest whispers, animals weep. Though night may fall, your light remains in every life, your love sustains.
Our next reading is from Jane Goodall's The Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. She writes, "Hope is often misunderstood. People tend to think that it is simply passive, wishful thinking. I hope something will happen, but I'm not going to do anything about it. This is indeed the opposite of real hope, which requires action and engagement." At this time, for our time of meditation, we'll be listening to the words of Gary Kowalski. We give thanks for the animals. Take a moment to get comfortable, sitting in a comfortable position, perhaps both feet on the ground if that's comfortable for you. Take a moment to either close your eyes or keep your eyes open, whichever you wish. Take some deep breaths together. Breathing in and out. In and out. Keep breathing. meditate on these words. We give thanks for the animals who live close to nature. Who remind us of the sanctities of birth and death. Who do not trouble their lives with foreboding or grief. Who let go each moment as it passes and accept each new one as it comes with serenity and grace. Enable us to walk in beauty as they do, at one with the turning seasons, welcoming the sunrise, and at peace with sunset. As we hallow the memory of good friends now departed, who loved abundantly and in their time were loved, who freely gave us their affection and loyalty. Let us not be anxious for tomorrow, but ask only that kindness and gratitude fill our hearts, day by day, into the passing years. Our next reading also comes from the Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times by Jane Goodall. It is these undeniable qualities of human love and compassion and self-sacrifice that give me hope for the future. We are indeed often cruel and evil. Nobody can deny this. We gang up on each other, we torture each other, with words as well as deeds. We fight, we kill. but we are also capable of the most noble, generous, and heroic behavior.
Team Gorilla, Team Gorilla.
Hey mama, hey mama, hey mama.
If you care, you can help. You're just like us. Same DNA.
Saving one gorilla can make a difference. It's our mountain gorillas. We got to protect them. Saving one gorilla can make a difference. Protect the mountain gorillas. Make a difference. They face extinction, habitat shrinking. Have a heart, a little conviction. I see all the poaching on their land you encroaching. Have a heart. Saving one gorilla can make a difference. It's our mountain gorillas. We got to protect them. Saving one gorilla can make a difference. Protect the mountain gorillas. Make a difference. Rafiki was a friend, so why did you kill him? Why do you spare him? A boss, a silverback. Rest in peace, Raf. The killing has to cease. They got hands like you, feet like you. They're just like you. Saving one gorilla can make a difference. It's our mountain gorillas. We got to protect them. Saving one gorilla can make a difference. Protect the mountain gorillas. Make a difference.
Gorillas are herbivores. They're generally passive animals, but the silverback will defend his troop if threatened. Beating on my chest like a silverback.
So for the discourse today, I'll be obviously reflecting on the life of Jane Goodall. A life for good. As we know, she was born in 1934 and just passed away in 2025, October 1st. So in these reflections on Jane Goodall's good life for good, I'm going to mix in a few memories, some personal memories of my own, of the day that I was privileged to spend with Jane Goodall on April 17th, 2007, when she was a distinguished speaker at Oklahoma City University. And I had worked with others for a number of years to get Jane Goodall to come to Oklahoma City University. It was not an easy task. She had a very busy schedule, speaking and traveling all around the world, but with some partnerships with the Oklahoma City Zoo and the Sierra Club and Jane Goodall's own program, Roots and Shoots, and the Distinguished Speaker Fund at OCU, we were able to have her on campus on April 17th, 2007. And I'll go into some detail about that day in a few moments. So on October 1st, we lost one of the most, I think, genuine and caring people on the planet. And I think maybe one of the most genuine and caring people I've ever had the opportunity to meet in person. She was a true earth keeper, In her work for conservation, she was a true lover of all life, both human and other than human. And because of her tremendous work in science and conservation and peacemaking and mentoring youth and children, she received numerous honors and awards. She was created Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds really impressive. In 2003, she was also awarded the Templeton Prize in 2021. That has to do with bringing together ideas and dialogue in relation to science and religion. She received the Stephen Hawking Medal for Science Communication in 2022. And you may remember earlier this year, in January, she received here in the United States the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2025. If you're my age, I'm 59, you were a child watching Jane Goodall's research on PBS, learning about her work observing chimpanzees in their natural environment. She was given the opportunity to do this work from an anthropologist and paleontologist by the name of Louis Leakey. Louis Leakey wanted to study primates to understand more about human evolution. By looking at their behavior, looking at their life and community, he believed we could understand more about human evolution. And he brought together three women who would do field research, who would work to observe these primates in their natural environment. Jane Goodall was one. She focused on chimpanzees. Diane Fossey was the second. She focused on gorillas. And Birute Galdikas was the third, and she observed orangutans. And of course, we all know the sad, tragic end of Diane Fossey's life as she was murdered, and there was both a book and a movie, Gorillas in the Mist, about her work to try to save the gorillas, the loss of habitat, and the poaching that was happening in relation to them. All three of these women experienced similar dangers, similar threats as Diane Fossey did. You may also remember, those of you who were alive during that time when she was on PBS, that she was out there in Gombe with her binoculars and her notebook, and that was about it. She took the time to gain the trust of the chimpanzees in these communities, and she notes, and she noted this when she spoke at Oklahoma City University in 2007, that it took some time to gain that trust because she was seen by them as a pretty strange looking primate. They were not used to seeing primates like her up close, so it took her time, but over time she was able to gain their trust. One of the chimpanzees named Graybeard was a key part of gaining that trust with the community of chimpanzees. And she was over time able to create a strong bond with them and engage in really significant research that discovered a lot of things about chimpanzees that we didn't know. At first, she came under criticism. There was a lot of misogyny in the field of science during that time, and the idea that a woman, especially a very young woman, could go out and do research on her own. That was something that was being criticized at the time, but she and the others showed that they were able to be involved in significant research. And she discovered that chimpanzees are a bit different than we thought they were before her research. She discovered that they are not herbivores. before her research, it was thought that chimpanzees were basically herbivores, but they're actually omnivores. They do eat meat. And she also discovered something that was unknown at the time among humans. Chimpanzees knew it. Chimpanzees use and make tools. So that's a big deal, because at this time you may realize that one of the definitions of being human was that we were the tool makers, we were the tool users, right? But chimpanzees also used and would make rudimentary tools, and that was previously thought something only humans could do. Also, she showed through her research that chimpanzees have deep emotions, that they show compassion for each other, that they have strong bonds with each other, very strong bonds, especially between mothers and infants. She also learned in her research that chimpanzees are a lot like humans in many ways that aren't so great, too. That chimpanzees will fight in very violent ways with each other and even go to war with other groups of chimpanzees. This was being exacerbated by the loss of habitat as well over time. So it was not something that she observed much early on, but as the habitat was lost, there was more fighting among the different groups. So she learned a lot about chimpanzees that we had not known before, and she spent really 65 years, not all the time, of course, there, but 65 years of her life involved in this research. These chimpanzees share 99% of our DNA, so they're very closely related to us, which is one of the reasons why Leakey wanted to have research done in relation to these different primates. When Jane Goodall began her research in 1960, the number of chimpanzees numbered over 1 million. And today, there's different estimates, but somewhere between 150,000 and 200,000 are left. And the main threats are less land, more people, and sadly a growing bushmeat trade as well. This fact, this loss of habitat, her seeing the loss of life among the chimpanzees and other wildlife, led Jane Goodall to become a very committed conservationist. She founded in the 1970s the Jane Goodall Institute, and through that institute, she really worked tirelessly through the years and throughout the rest of her life, raising awareness, raising consciousness about the threats to wildlife and promoting conservation all around the world. And she expanded her focus to become a global advocate. She was a global advocate for peace, for the well-being of animals, for human rights, for wildlife protection, and really focused on any cause that would bring together a more peaceful future for all of life. And because of that work, she was recognized by all those awards that I mentioned before. The work as a peacemaker led her to becoming a messenger for peace with the United Nations. Kofi Annan appointed her a messenger for peace. And in that work, she worked for a more harmonious, sustainable relationship between people, animals, and the natural world. Jane Goodall, like Thich Nhat Hanh, she's in my top 2 persons who never received the Nobel Peace Prize, who really did deserve to win the Nobel Peace Prize, unlike other persons who really want the Nobel Peace Prize, and some who've received it, sadly. I have no idea why Jane Goodall never won the Nobel Peace Prize, and my same beef is with Thich Nhat Hanh never winning the Nobel Peace Prize. She's been a mentor to youth and children all around the world. Has any of you ever participated or heard of the Roots and Shoots program? I don't know if they have something here in this area, but it's a global program that she started in 1991, and it first started with a group of teenagers from Tanzania, which is where she was doing her research with chimpanzees. And those teenagers would meet with Jane Goodall and talk with her about their problems that they faced in the community. And it was that conversation with those teenagers in Tanzania that that inspired her to create this community program, and she set up Roots and Shoots. And that program has partnered with schools and educators, and it aims to bring young people together and empower them to care for the environment. There was a Roots and Shoots chapter in Oklahoma City when she came to speak at OCU, and they came in force to the time that she was speaking there. And so many of them wanted to have the opportunity to meet with Jane Goodall after the talk, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So April 17th, 2007 was the day that she came to Oklahoma City to speak at Oklahoma City University. And that's a day that really does live very strongly in my memory, because I helped to arrange her coming, and then when she was there, I had the opportunity to host her for the day before she spoke. And when she did speak, she spoke to over 4,000 people in our arena at Oklahoma City University in the Freedy Center, which is barely what the fire department will allow to be in the arena. And so I got to host her for the day and had the opportunity to drive her around Oklahoma City some and to be with her for 2 meals. And I really do count it as one of the highlights of my life and my time at OCU. Jane Goodall was 73 years old at that time. She died at the age of 91. At age 73, her energy level was simply impressive. Greater than mine at the time. I picked her up in the morning. She had already spent a couple of hours at the zoo with the chimpanzees there and the persons that were taking care of the chimpanzees there at the Oklahoma City Zoo. So I picked her up from the zoo, and I'll have to admit, I may have been as nervous that morning as any other morning, because what you don't know is that I idolized, and still do, Jane Goodall. And so, this was my idol, this was my shero, this was, I had followed her work since I was a kid, and so I was incredibly nervous about meeting her. So one of the first things that I did, because not everyone has a chance to meet a person that they've idolized their whole life. So one of the first things I did is I confessed that I idolized her, maybe even too much. It might be idolatry, how much I idolize you. And I said, if I'm unable to speak in complete sentences, that may be the reason why. But she put me at ease very quickly. So as I picked her up from the zoo, we talked about that, and we went to have lunch together at my favorite place in Oklahoma City to have lunch and breakfast. It's called the Red Cup. A little advertisement for the Red Cup. They are a vegan restaurant. At the time, I don't think they were full vegan. They were both vegan and vegetarian. And I knew that Jane Goodall had been a vegetarian for a very long time. She became a vegan in 2021, but she was a vegetarian at this time. So I said, okay, we'll go to my favorite vegetarian lunch place, which is the Red Cup. And if you've ever been to the Red Cup in Oklahoma City, it's a different place. It's a happening place. It's where the very progressive crowd of Oklahoma City hangs out. And so we went there, and it's a small place, so there's not a lot of people there. But I did realize as I was walking in that people are going to recognize who I'm with here, and they did. But they were very respectful. Didn't get in her space, but she was very open to speak with people. And there were a few people that did say, "Oh, you're Jane. I love you," And it was great. It was really great. I joke with the person who has owned the Red Cup for years. I sent him a question. I said, "Who do you think the most famous person to eat at the Red Cup has been?" And he wasn't there that day, so I said he didn't think he knew who the most famous one. I said, "Well, I think I know who the most famous person was." So we had lunch at the Red Cup. It was a really nice time to converse. I told her how I had watched her since I was a child. And after the Red Cup, I took her back to the hotel for her to get ready to speak that evening. And a couple hours later, went back to the hotel, picked her up, and we went to OCU to have dinner with students and faculty. And at those distinguished speaker events, we try to make sure that the distinguished speaker is surrounded by students. So her table was all students. And she just lit up in that environment, speaking with students. And the students, it was one of their highlights of their lives to have that opportunity to talk with her. And that was wonderful to see. And then after that dinner, she went down into the arena, which was jam-packed by that time, overfilled. And she spoke for about 50 minutes to an hour. And her talk was mesmerizing. She had the arena packed. She spoke on her work as a scientist and the challenges of being a woman scientist, especially. She talked about her work as a conservationist and how she had created Roots and Shoots and how concerned she was about climate change and habitat loss and all the things that we needed to work together to make hope a reality in the world. It was outstanding, standing ovation, just a wonderful spiritual night, really. And then after she spoke, this was one of the most amazing things about the day for me. I said to her, we have this opportunity, as you mentioned in the contract, for you to meet with people, to greet them if they want to see you before they leave. And I said, we didn't perhaps expect 4,000 people to be here when we put the contract together. And she insisted on staying until every person who wanted to meet her and talk to her had a chance to do so. She was there for nearly 2 hours after that talk. After waking up in the morning, speaking at the zoo, a full day, a dinner, speaking, and then 2 hours, almost 2 hours of speaking to everyone, and especially, and she paid special attention to the youth and children that came up to her that night. I mean, what an inspiration. What a compassionate soul. What a model for peace. What a mentor for youth and children. Sometimes when one meets their hero or shero, there is a letdown, but there was not a letdown for me on that day in April of 2007. She was even better than my ridiculously high expectations of her. The earth I witnessed as a child, the earth that I marveled at while watching shows on PBS like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and while seeing the research of Jane Goodall on PBS, it's not the same earth that we live on today. We as human animals have not been good to the rest of our animal community or to each other. But the good life of Jane Goodall will live in our memory as a beacon of light, that we can all do better to carry forward her legacy of love, hope, peace, and compassion. At this time, we have an opportunity for giving. You can bring your gifts to the table. There's also opportunities to give online.
Let's work with our actions as one, push with our voices as one, give with our hearts as one, and be the change we need in this world.
We need to work as one, as one.
Stand in body or spirit for the closing words and the extinguishing of the chalice. Our closing words today come from Jane Goodall. Special words. These are Jane Goodall's final message that she agreed that it would not be released until after she passed away. She says, "What message do I want to leave? I want to make sure that you all understand that each and every one of you has a role to play. You may not know it, you may not find it, but your life matters and you are here for a reason. Every single day you live, you make a difference in the world, and you get to choose the difference that you make. I want you to understand that we are part of the natural world. And even today, when the planet is dark, there is still hope. Don't lose hope. We have to do everything in our power to make the world a better place, for the children alive today and for those that will follow. You have it in your power to make a difference. Don't give up." Let us join in extinguishing our chalices. We extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.